And welcome back. Moffin on Money Tuesday night Q&A. We are we are back. Glad to be back. It seems like it's been a little while, but we appreciate all y'all. Appreciate y'all's support. Kill some sound in the background there. Thank you. Yeah, we took a little leave for a week or so. Ellen was on the road, and it just seemed like good time to take a break. So we're glad to be back. It has been too long. We missed y'all. Melissa, make me laugh. Dogs uh, can't call you dogs. Just gonna have to go with Sky. Good to see you too. Good to see y'all. The family is reunited. Um, Ellen is nursing her much loved, well known. She got a new, what do you call it? A carbonator? Not a carbonator.
Soda stream.
Soda stream. Yeah, because she likes club soda and fizzy stuff. So she just went ahead and got one of the machines to do it. So she's enjoyed that. Sky, call you grandma. With much love and affection. Well, we like I said, we've been gone. We're back, and we had some interesting response today to us coming back, particularly from some of the newbies. Once they heard we were coming back, the party was on. The excitement was through the roof. So glad to be back.
Melissa, it was not a Prime Day deal. Actually, Costco had a better price, so ordered it from them.
Oh, I was sitting there trying to figure out what the hell you were talking about. Took me a minute. And Melissa, for the viewers of the show who've been with us for a while, we have a little family, and Melissa is a much loved member of that family. Well, one thing we try to do is help out family when we can. And Melissa has a little situation. She's got a rabbit that needs a much loved rabbit. If you know Melissa, you know pets are life. She runs a website, Love Pug Circus, one word. And if you have a chance, go visit. But has this rabbit that has some medical needs. And so she is trying to raise some money to cover that, cover the expenses.
Do you have the link?
Yes, it was taking me a minute to get it up here. It's been a little while since I've done this. And here at this website, let me post the link. She is selling paintings that she has painted, or bracelets that she makes. And so would encourage y'all, if you have some time, have a little money that you can help out, it'd be a great thing. And I was sitting here looking at the artwork. Some of it's just kind of cool. Any pizza is a personal pizza if you believe in yourself. And my favorite, it's a pug, but I don't know, just something about the colors and whatever. I like that a lot. So it's some pretty cool artwork that she's willing to part with. This guy's sitting here going, "Did GB turn into a bunny?" I think the bunny is an extra member of the collection. Like I say, Melissa is, yeah, it's kind of surprising. Love Pug Circus. What, the bunny doesn't get equal credit there? But if you would, if you can, and you like one of the pictures or the bracelets or whatever, then I can vouch for your money's going to a good cause. And like I say, we don't, she's family. We don't do this for everybody that just contacts us or whatever. We have to know the person and, understand the need and believe in them. And, Melissa, we have gotten to know over the past year and a half. Ellen talks with her repeatedly. She is family. I vouch for her. So it's for a good cause. She made all the artwork. All of that is she individually painted. I did not know she was as talented as an artist, but I kind of digging it, honestly. Melissa, he'll need his neuter, vax, checkup, microchip. He's a bitty baby. He was found by a little boy while on a field trip. We took him in. So, well, Melissa, got a couple of little small dogs that I found. You want to take in a few more? Anyway, y'all help a friend out. Sky, I had a bunny and never went to a vet. After 3 years, she ran away. We were devastated. How long do bunnies live? I don't know. I have no idea what the life expectancy is, but I didn't think it was terribly long. Ellen's daughter used to have a bunny. And that was a mess. Melissa, they can be over 15 years old. I didn't think it was anywhere near that long. Fascinating. So, well, what have y'all done to keep yourselves occupied while we were on a little hiatus? I hope y'all had a good week. Got some things done. And yes, exotic vets are outrageously pricey. I don't know. I can't say I've had to use exotics a whole lot, but the non-exotic vets are outrageously pricey. There's just, and they're getting hard to see, which price is only going to go up. But just scheduling a regular vet appointment or something is getting difficult. There's just not enough of them. They're like cats. You can train them. I've never seen a trained bunny in my life. Unless you want to eat a carrot out of your hand.
I have. They're pretty cool.
Really? Never seen one.
Sky, I can't, I probably can't say that online.
Some things best handled.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. No trouble. We just don't want to violate HIPAA and discuss the dog's, medical records or health without their express written consent.
No, I don't want to get fined. How about that?
Yeah, we're not going to say that.
Yeah. There you go. You got it. You're welcome.
I was thinking, it's Tuesday night, Q&A. This is kind of y'all's night to talk, to ramble, ask questions, whatever you want. As usual, I've got a few things to discuss, to fill in. But if you're on Twitter, if you're on Rumble, obviously YouTube, then, feel free to throw up questions. Most any subject, we're pretty open. My bailiwick is generally finance, but I'm game for anything. Ellen's pretty much game for anything. So if something strikes you, let us know. Also, was thinking about, what did I want to talk about tonight? I'd mentioned before that on the previous Saturday, I was going to discuss Bitcoin. And what I'd rather do probably is wait for Saturday night. And we'll talk about what's going on with Bitcoin. Been a lot of things happening the past week or two. And it has been a topic of hot conversation. So this Saturday, we'll talk more in detail about Bitcoin, what's going on with Bitcoin. That's a kind of a favorite discussion around here. There were some interesting releases this week. I love my little economic releases because this is how I understand what's going on in the economy. And ultimately, what's going on in the economy will end up impacting you, both in your personal life, possibly your job, future employment, interest rates, as well as, probably most importantly to most people, the stock market. So there was a big report this week called JOLTS, JOLTS, JOLTS. Everybody just calls it the JOLTS report. It's the job openings and labor turnover, published by the BA, Bureau of Economic Affairs, one of my favorite agencies or departments. It's not really a separate agency, but it came out today, and there was a big big drop expected by most economists because of certain revisions that they expected. With this BLS, BA, we've kind of gotten accustomed to expected some big revisions after the headlines have passed. But there was a surprise with this report. Kind of a sort of a surprise, I guess. Job openings surged. That was unexpected. But if you'll notice the pretty pick, and I love picks. Melissa, I love your picks, but your picks are not the only ones I love. I love these kind of picks. And if you look at this pick, this red line is job openings in the private sector. And you'll notice since the middle of 22, it has been on a relatively steady decline. There's, some vibration, but it's a clear declining trend. And private sector jobs dropped this past month by 102,000. But the really cool thing, if you'll notice, was this green line. This is government jobs. And government jobs jumped. Absolutely jumped. Surged to 1.9 million openings. So private sector's been declining. Government sector is just doing all sorts of fine. It's almost at an all-time high. So, what does that mean? Well, a lot of people talk about all the jobs created, all the hiring going on. I think there's some openings in the Secret Service, and there may be a few more coming up. I just watched a documentary about Lou Pearlman called Dirt Pop. I said I was prepared to talk about most anything. I'm not sure I can cover much on that topic. But Sky, you're welcome to run with it. Scammed a lot of people. Lou Pearlman. How do I know that name? Who is he, Ellen? Ellen.
Yes.
Who is he?
Hang on. I'm going to get you the full because I know a little bit about him.
Dirty Pop. He stole millions. Yeah, the name just
Yeah, he was the one that did all the boy bands.
boy bands.
Yeah, Backstreet Boys, um, the Menudo, whatever it's called.
Was he in the bands or
No,
running them or
he quote unquote managed them, stole all their
okay.
money. A lot of the boys were abused. Yeah, he was bad.
Did not know that.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, he was awful, awful human.
Yeah, you'll have to forgive me. There are certain sectors of the economy in the world I don't follow closely, and boy bands would be kind of like near the top of that list.
It's I'm trying to find the.
Yay, Melissa. She's not familiar either.
Oh, oh my God. I mean, granted, do you mind if I share screen?
No, go ahead. Melissa, Menudo was a different guy who started it at least.
I thought he did Menudo, but anyway. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, fraud, conspiracy, money laundering. He stole more than 300 million from investors through one of the largest, longest running Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. It's a 3-part docu-series called Dirty Pop.
Wow.
No. Oh, God, really? Stop it. Okay. Yeah, the first half of the series focused on how Perlman created and funded his old boy bands while taking a large portion of their profits as a sixth member per their recording contracts. According to Billboard, he was eventually sued by nearly every single act, including NSYNC and Backstreet Boys in the late 90s after building a business empire on fraud. Yeah, those kids got paid almost nothing.
Wow. Well, did they win? Did they get anything from the suit? Do you know?
I have not watched it. You're going to have to. Only 5 people went to his funeral. Ugh. Yeah. I have not watched it. You have to ask Sky. Yeah, Justin
Yes, Guy.
Timberlake
Can you give us the
was one of
cliff
them.
notes on the show? Now I remember a little bit about Backstreet. I think I even bought my daughter one of their CDs. And NSYNC. I ain't gonna lie, I remember listening to the Backstreet CD, and it wasn't half bad. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know how many they put out.
they got paid almost nothing for it.
Sounds like Bernie Madoff a little bit. He stole from banks and friends. And that's kind of why on this show I always stress you need to know and you need to be aware of what's going on with your money, who's managing it, what they're doing, how they're doing it. Something you don't understand, don't do it. If they have problems explaining to you or showing you or proving to you what's going on, that's all you need to know. Find somebody else. Because there are tons of people that are willing to liberate you from the responsibility of managing your money. Plain and simple.
From it as well.
Yeah. So if you don't really want to take the time to keep up with your money and be aware of what's going on with it, there's a lot of people that will relieve you of that responsibility. So
Gladly.
hence
Happily.
this show. All right. Well, that's interesting. Getting back to jobs, private sector down, government sector up, which is kind of fascinating in and of itself. A lot of people are talking about, the great economy and GDP, for example. GDP is up.
Excuse me, Clay?
Yes, ma'am.
He had airplanes and insurance. He had blimps, and he died in jail.
He owned a blimp.
Apparently, he was a blimp, but yeah.
Uh, of all the things I would want to buy, I don't know that a blimp would be up on my list, but
Insurance
nonetheless,
fraud.
this guy was a piece of work.
Oh, he was terrible. He was just evil. Oh,
He
geez.
he advertised for McDonald's. What was he? The poster boy for eating
He
there
was
for years?
he was Grimace.
He was what?
Grimace. Or the Hamburglar. Either way.
Oh, that's funny.
Y'all know you know who Grimace is. The big purple
No, I know
dude.
who the Hamburglar is.
Grimace was the big purple dude.
Never saw him.
Looks like a raindrop or something. I don't know. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
That's funny. And he died in jail. Just out of amiable curiosity, I might have to look up the series.
Yeah, 5 people went to his funeral. 5 humans.
Probably bill collectors.
I'd be like,
Well,
if I was one of those boy bands, I'd be like, are you sure he's dead?
you have the priest. You have probably a couple of grave diggers. And then who knows? That's funny.
Sky, I know. He was a PEDO.
Hmm. Never married or had kids.
He was a PEDO. Well, they can't prove it. The man's dead, but that's what a lot of his boy band guys said.
Interesting. Don't know. Have to take a look and see. I'm kind of torn. I'm a little bit curious, but now I don't know if I really want to watch it. But might pull it out. All right, back to jobs.
Sorry about that.
No, that's no problem. Just going back to what I know. And it is about money. I just don't know anything about about the guy, his history. As far as scamming a bunch of young boys who are singing, that wouldn't be that difficult because they have no awareness of money. They have no idea of finance or contract law. You just earn their trust and they look to you and I mean, the name was probably appropriate, Pops. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they called him, Pop.
And the thing is, too, Clay, I think a lot of these boys that get in these boy bands, they have, of course, good voices and they can dance and all that, but a lot of them are from families that don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so any little bit of money seems like a lot of money. And I think that's how a lot of people get scammed.
And, they're so busy traveling, recording. They've got, fans screaming at them, drawing their attention. Their attention is really not on finance. And that's what a good con man does. He has you look away. He keeps you preoccupied. He earns your trust, gets your trust, and then he has you look away while the deed is being done. A lot of these kids made a fortune thanks to him, many single mothers.
Yeah, I think that once they got out from under him and after they sued him and like Timberlake could get kind of on his own, they made tons of money. And I know a lot of single mothers were raising these kids and they were just like, 10 thousands better than no thousands.
Yeah, I'd really be interested in seeing the financial arrangements that, he had with the kids and how the contract money was dispersed. So I might watch it for that and see if it goes into some detail or information on that.
And I'll see if I can find the contracts.
And if we can find out some more, we'll try to, bring it up and cover it in a little bit more detail, go into a little bit more background. I'm about ready to throw the jobs thing away. Bottom line on jobs, we've talked about this, is over the past year, we've lost about 1.7 million full-time jobs. We gained about 1.8 million part-time jobs. And so this pick just further demonstrates the pain in the private sector. Okay. And if you think about it, the main industries for hiring, the biggest industry in this country is housing, construction, real estate sales, commercial real estate development, et cetera, et cetera. So real estate, well, almost all of those areas are hitting a wall. Housing construction starts are falling off. Car sales, another huge industry in this country. Car sales are falling off. I mean, EVs have just up and died. Nobody wants to buy an EV right now. So as you look at this trend here, particularly with the private sector, that's only going to get worse. Only going to get worse. Government hiring, hell if I know what's going to happen to it. A lot of people talk about, hey, GDP is good. We're not in a recession yet. And if you watch the show some, you know that I have argued that, yes, we are already in a recession. But GDP, well, first of all, GDP is not the actual measure used to determine whether there's a recession or not. Secondly, government spending has grown to be such a large part of GDP. It's probably 30% of the calculation. Just government spending alone. Throw into that the other industry that is adding jobs or growing. That's healthcare. Well, who spends the most money in healthcare?
The government.
That also is government. So, you can look and see the private sector's been hurting and has been hurting for a year, 2 years. Government is really the only area showing any vibrancy. Now, a lot of attention has been placed on a meeting this week. The Federal Reserve meets this week, and everybody, for quite a while has been hoping for a rate cut. They want the interest rates down, particularly in the real estate sector. But all indications seem to point that this week's meeting will kind of be rather boring. No real news, no real event, no real changes. Now, the street is expecting a cut, just not at this meeting, maybe next month. And so that begs the question, what happens to the market when rates are cut? A lot of different perspectives or thoughts on this, but trying to shuck them down, relatively concisely is, for example, Goldman Sachs issued a paper this week, and I'm stealing a pic from it that I think is modestly informative and interesting. Now, what you've got here, zero. This is called an event study. You've got an event, a rate cut.
Clay, you're not sharing the screen.
Yes, I am. It's right there.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anyway, this is an event study where you've got an event, in this case, an interest rate cut at day 0. Now, this is months. So this is 2 months before the rate cut, 4 months, 6 months. This is 2 months after, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months after. So it's showing what happens to the median stock market return based on the event of a rate cut. So here you see, two other things. The dark gray, the gray line, is when the economy is entering a recession. The blue line is when the economy does not enter a recession. So the blue line here, this is 4 months before the rate cut. This is 4 months before the rate cut when the economy does enter recession. And looking at the rate cut, you can tell that if the rate cut is due to a weakening economy and there is a recession, that you might get a little bit of a bounce temporarily, but over 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year later, you're looking at a 15 to 20% drop in the market. Now, here's what happens. Obviously, if there's not a recession, the market goes up somewhere around 12% over the next year, 10 to 12% over the next year. So how do you know? Well, if you think about it, there are times when the Fed will raise rates, a quarter of a point, 25 basis points. And then a few months later, it'll drop the rate 25 basis points. Or let me just stick with that. So there are minor shifts where the Fed cuts rates. Those are factored in this table, in this graph. So you have relatively minor, insignificant changes in the economy, and then you have major changes in the economy. The Fed has hiked rates in order to try to cool inflation, much like Volcker did in 79 and 80. And the economy tanked, went into a major recession. When the Fed hikes repeatedly, 4, 5, 6 times in a row, it's because of inflation. And the way the Fed kills inflation is to kill the economy. Because inflation is more money chasing after the same or fewer goods. So how do you tamp down that money? Well, you make money more expensive, which means people can't spend as much, which means there's not as much job creation, which means there's people losing their jobs, which means there is more unemployed. So that's kind of the dirty secret that nobody really discusses. But the way the Fed kills inflation is to bring on a recession. So this table, the significance of this table depends on the reason why and the timing of when the Fed cuts the rates. If the Fed starts cutting the rates because the economy is weakening, you can probably expect that what they're doing too late to really save it. So you want to keep that in mind. When the Fed senses that inflation is no longer a risk, when demand for goods and services is dropping, when you've got a slowing economy, otherwise known as a recession, that's when the Fed generally starts to cut rates or do a major cut in rates. So people think once the Fed cuts rates, the market's going up. Well, I've got news for you. That's not what history shows. When housing starts drop, when car sales drop, when full-time jobs are lost, when defaults on car loans start jumping up, they're up 23% so far this year. when people are tapping their retirement funds to try to pay bills, when they're using credit cards, racking up credit card debt to try to buy food, what do you think is going to happen? And I mentioned housing starts. So I pulled this chart today. This is a graph of housing starts. And what I want you to notice is the areas in yellow. Once housing starts have peaked and started declining by more than a few million units, the declines have been steep and significant. I mean, there are times when it drops a little bit. We have white noise, some temporary issue or whatever. But, when it drops a little bit, yeah, no big deal. But when it drops by, more than 100,000 units in the past, going back to the 70s, that drop has always been very significant. So what kind of indicator do you think this is starting to show? You'll also want to, if you're worried about stocks or whether to invest in the market, whether it's the time to buy right now, you also should be aware that executives are dumping stock. Remember, I mentioned a few months ago when Jamie Dimon at Morgan dumped $150 million worth of Morgan stock. Well, corporate executives are dumping their stock at the fastest pace since the subprime crisis. Very, very few are buying. The buying percentage has dropped to about 15%. Just to give you a little background, the 10-year average is around 25 to 30%. So when you see insiders, executives throwing in the towel, you may want to think about the same. Now, we also talked about the Sahm rule several months ago. Sahm was an economist who came up with the rule that uses moving averages of unemployment. And when the 3-month moving average of unemployment increases by 0.5%, a recession has always followed. So here is, as you can tell, this is 0, this is 1. So here's about 0.5 point. And a recession had already started. Here's about 0.5 point right at the start of the recession. Here's the 0.5 point. Recession had already technically started. It's a pretty damn good indicator of we're either in a recession or a recession is very, very close. And as you can tell here, it is just shy of that 0.5% mark. It's about 0.4%. So it'll be interesting the next month or two to see what happens with unemployment, with all the reduction in job openings, all the layoffs announced recently, etc. I expect unemployment to continue climbing. And the Sahm rule will simply confirm that we are in a recession. Also, you want to keep in mind that the equity market the last couple of weeks has lost about $2.5 trillion in market cap the last few weeks. Last week, in 2 days alone, the Magnificent Seven, we've talked about how all the rise in the NASDAQ, the S&P, is due to the Magnificent Seven: Facebook, Amazon, Google, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. They lost 1.1 trillion alone. So is this a feature or a bug? Well, what do you think the best way is to kill inflation, as well as lower booming housing prices? Do you understand how that would work? Anybody have any questions? Does this make sense? Um, while you're cogitating, I also do want to again remind everyone, because we've got some new viewers. I'd like to remind everyone about Melissa. Now, for those of you that have joined us since the beginning, let me just repeat real quickly. We have a family here. We love our family. Melissa's one of the family members. And she has a rabbit that needs some medical attention. Obviously, for exotic vets, the prices are very high. So she is willing to sell some of her artwork, and it's pretty cool artwork actually. And I think it's pretty reasonably priced. Melissa, about what size are these paintings? But she has the paintings, she has the bracelets. So if you love animals and you're able, you dig great art, and you want to help out a truly sweet spirit, then give some thought to buying one of her pictures. We know Melissa, have known her for a year and a half since we started this show, basically, just about. I mean, Ellen talks to her. We know her well and vouch for her. This is not something I do for anybody that just contacts us. I need to know the person and be able to vouch for them and make sure that the money is going to the intended purpose. And so Melissa's a beautiful spirit. And if you're been on the channel just a few weeks, you've seen and heard from her. If you've been on it more than a few months, you've grown to love her as well. So these are, according to Melissa, these are 8x10s and 10x10s. All the info's in the description of each item. Okay. So if you will, take a look. I will again post the link, but it'd be going to a damn good use.
Clay already pinned it to the top of the chat on YouTube.
Cool. Also, Melissa, are we going to choose a movie for August movie night? All right, let's take some nominations. For those of you who might be new to the channel, we, have had book clubs, we've switched to movie clubs. So we all watch a movie, then get together on Zoom and discuss and brag on the movie, celebrate the movie, cheer the movie, whatever we want to do. It's kind of an open and fun time. It's just a good time to get to know people and have a little fellowship. So what movies would y'all like to see added to the list?
Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. It's a happy movie. I promised Sky that I would put that on there. It is a happy, fun, lovely movie.
All right, what else? Normally we kind of narrow it down to like 5 movies and then let everybody vote in a poll and choose the movie. Last month it was Braveheart, which I think is an incredibly happy movie.
Some like it hot. All right.
Got it. I was going to throw out Casablanca, but since we've got a vintage movie with Some Like It Hot.
What about What the Bleep Do We Know? That's more cerebral.
Never heard of it.
What the bleep do we know?
And what is that about?
Well, you'd have to watch it now, wouldn't you? And then Sky says Dirty Pop.
Now that's a series.
True, but I bet it's shorter than reading one of the books.
True. Trying to think, what are some other good, relatively light movies that are entertaining? I am just drawing a blank because, I sit here and think of my favorite movies. Ghostbusters.
That's a good one too, Sky. Funny girl. And we can do a bunch and then just the top 5 of whoever. Oh, and National Lampoon's Vacation or European Vacation. Clay's never seen that still.
Yeah, so y'all, if something comes to you while we're talking, just go ahead and throw it out, and I'll add it to the list as we go on. And then after the show, I'll try to put up a poll.
And then the top 5 that make it, they're the most popular, we'll go with those.
Yeah.
I'm big again. Hello.
Do what? Sorry.
No, I
You
like
what
being a
again?
little. I like being a little box at the bottom
you're
of the
big
screen.
again. Yeah, I just
Mhm.
couldn't make it out.
Mhm.
I saw this report and I thought it was kind of interesting because we were talking about housing. Hundreds of cities in the U.S. have starter homes priced at $1 million or more, $1 million or more. Suburbs around the big cities. But we talk about housing often, and this kind of made me think. For the past 20, 30 years, there's been a well-established trend of people moving to the cities. Our population has really gotten concentrated in big cities. The jobs were there, the city life, the nightlife, whatever. But with housing prices soaring, $1 million for a starter home, with inventory dropping, I talk about inventory dropping. Well, in June had 1.1 million. Let's see. It was 1.1 million houses, existing homes for sale. That's down from 1.7 million average for June. The number of active listings continue to fall month by month. So this shortage of housing is forcing housing prices higher and keeping them there. Now, to give you an idea, keep in mind that in 2022, 6.7 million homes were sold. $6.7 million were sold. Last year, that dropped to 2 million. I mean, this is the lowest number of homes sold since the subprime crisis. New housing starts are down by a third to 1.1 million. So, do you think this will alter the high housing price trend? No. It will only push housing prices even higher. People don't want to sell their existing homes because they've got such a low mortgage and they can't, afford to flip it and get another one, a new mortgage. So my thought was, I want to get some of your feedback or thoughts. Do you think this will impact the trend of people moving to big cities, particularly young people? Does rural living become more attractive to young people? Does remote work make this possible? I see a lot of people wanting remote work. And honestly, in finance, I'm not a big fan of remote work for somebody just starting out their career. Finance is a trust industry, it's a people industry. And so much of it you learn as you work. in college, we give you the basic tools, give you a toolbox that you can then go apply. But to really learn how to apply it, use it, develop it, you need to be mentored. And, normally that's kind of done best in person. But there are a lot of jobs, a lot of careers where maybe working at home, remote work would be perfectly fine. So does this break the trend of wanting to be in a city or move to a city when you graduate from college? I don't know. I think it's very possible. It'll be interesting to see, but you know, companies, particularly in a recessionary environment, particularly in a global economy with greater and greater price competition, and if you're talking about remote work, it's just as easy to hire somebody in India to work remote as it is anywhere in the US. So, I'm kind of thinking that salaries aren't going to blow up anytime soon. And so if you want a job, if you want a career, if you want to get started, your living expenses are a huge factor in the jobs you can accept. I don't know. Just kind of rambling thoughts here. I'd like some of your thoughts and feedback. I haven't seen any sign that that's happening so far, but I don't know. I think it's very possible. It would be a huge paradigm shift in how people live, interact, manage their careers. So I don't know. We'll see. Also, wanted to give proper and due credit. We kind of passed a milestone this week. National debt, total net debt went over $35 million. Sorry, $35 trillion. Let me get my digits right. That's about 267,000 per taxpayer. How cool is that? That puts the debt to GDP ratio at about 123%. Historically, 130%, 140% is third world nation status. But wait, it gets better. The really good news is that the current debt this year is already at $2 trillion. And the Treasury just released reports showing they intend on borrowing another $740 billion this quarter, and probably about $550 billion the fourth quarter. So that'll roughly be $3.3 trillion in debt this year. Now contrast that with 2019, the debt was $460 billion. So we've increased that almost eightfold in 4 years. How cool is that? And the pace is increasing. It's not like we're about to slow down. The pace is increasing. Federal government employees growing. Right now, the federal government takes in about $15,000 a year in taxes per citizen, including children. So if you have a family of 4, that's $60,000. And that's not near enough. How cool is that? So I thought we ought to just kind of take a minute and celebrate the news. We're setting records all over the place. Seriously, debt per taxpayer, $270,000. How does that get paid? Does it need to be paid? Some people, there are certain theorists that argue that the government can borrow unlimited amounts without negative impact. If that were true, if the government could borrow all they wanted with no negative impact, then why tax anyone? Just print everything you need. I don't think I have to have a crystal ball to say that's going to be a problem. That's going to be an increasing problem. The annual interest payment so far is running about $1.4 trillion a year, and that's only going to increase. So, thought you might find that interesting. Thought you might want to know. Some good news. Parents. I know some of y'all aren't parents, but for those of you that are, maybe you can join with me and echo, I miss my baby. I mean, we used to talk every night, 30 minutes or an hour, sometimes for hours. And now she's, she got married. She got 2 little kids. She's running around all the time, cooking meals, doing all that stuff. So she just doesn't have the time she used to talk. And I miss my baby. Not going to lie. So if you're in the same boat and you miss your baby, there's hope. There is hope. I saw this. And thought I would offer the encouragement. The share of kids, I call them kids, 25 to 35-year-old living with their parents is at an 85-year high. And this was as 2022. Once we get the 2023 data in, I think we're at an all-time high. And if you look, last year's rent was up 5%, wages up, 4%. The year before, rent was up 8.5% or 9%, wages up 5%. It's a losing battle. It is a losing battle. And if you pay attention to what's going on in this area, which I kind of do, evictions are up 15 to 35% in most major cities. Overdue rent, the precursor to evictions, is up 300 to 500%. 300 to 500%. Yes, you heard that correctly. Now, some cities are trying to limit landlords' ability to collect, to evict, to assess penalties on late fees. And this helps the renter. Yay. But it penalizes the landlord. And more importantly, I say more importantly, if you're a landlord, it wouldn't be more important, but more importantly, it discourages or makes other potential landlords unwilling to rent their properties or to buy rental properties. This in turn creates shortages of rental properties, which in turn results in prices increasing 300 to 500%. Also, if landlords are having a lot of defaults, they can't throw out the non-payers, it also adds to the commercial real estate crisis. We've talked about the increasing debt and the risk that poses to the banks, particularly regional banks who are on a tenuous foothold at best. Also of note, you should note that the BEA revised personal income down for April and May. Revised income down, personal income down for April and May, which I know shocks everyone. But you ought to get used to negative revisions, negative income revisions, because more are coming. So increasingly, if you've got, young kids between 25 and 35, there's a chance they'll be back in their room before long. Also, we have some beloved viewers in Canada, some members of the family, Sky, for example, and don't want our Canadian friends to feel left out. I just saw a report from the Brownstone Institute that showed that Canada's standard of living is on track to have its worst decline in 40 years. 40 years. Here's an article in Financial Post talks about Canada's GDP per capita has been falling 0.04% a year since 2020, the worst rate among 50 developed economies. And so Canada, our beloved neighbor, possesses the worst growth rate out of 50 developed economies. That's quite an effort. Now, in Canada, since COVID, food's up, according to the government, if you trust their numbers, 25%, energy's up 30%, which most of that is due to a carbon tax. Bankruptcies last year rose 40%. And the Canadian Central Bank reports that nearly one half of Canadians have zero emergency savings. Business investment is plunged by a third. Government spending is nearly double. It's all of this since 2015. And who can tell me what happened in 2015? Sky, I met someone today with a dog who could not find an apartment for herself and her dog because the landlords don't want dogs. They can be increasingly picky because there's not much competition. Melissa, tell him to come to LA. Melissa's our beloved Californian. She defends it greatly. I have been known to knock it a little bit, but just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. But we do love Melissa. So for those of you in Canada who feel like maybe I've been slighting you by talking mostly about U.S. markets and economy, I didn't want y'all to feel slighted or left out. So there you go. I hope that makes you feel better. Sky, did that make you feel better? Also, we have another suggestion on the movie, Slumdog Millionaire. So we might add that to the list. What else? Ellen, your dogs. You forgot them. Thought y'all might be interested in seeing this. Can you hear that by any chance? This is Mark Zuckerberg's latest toy. Our well-known, avowed climate activist who is worried about climate change and its impact on the world. So this is his latest acquisition, an almost 300-foot long yacht with 4 MTU diesel engines. And I did a little maths on that. I figured out it burns approximately 400 gallons of fuel, a grade of diesel, per hour. Every hour. Every hour, it's not attached to another power source, which is most of the places it docks. Probably has a crew of 25 or 30. Not bad. But you know, I see these kind of things and I just laugh. You ever notice how climate advocates, you know, always are talking about there's something that you need to give up, that there's something in your lifestyle that you need to change, do without, but there is never anything that they need to give up. even their rather extravagant toys. Yeah, Melissa, I'm kind of with you there. Not going to lie. The hypocrisy just sometimes is too rich. Still haven't seen that film. Is that the Slumdog Millionaires, I think? I haven't seen it either. I've heard the name, but I have no idea what it is.
It's so good.
Ellen's cheering it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, any of y'all with Scottish inclinations, you'll be pleased to know that a committee in Scotland revealed that over the past several years, the government had chopped down 17 million trees. Chopped down 17 million trees to clear the way for wind farms, windmills. Don't get me started on windmills. I absolutely loathe windmills. Their power's erratic. They kill eagles and pelicans, which are two of my favorite birds. Producing them, transporting them, installing them takes or save in their life. Mining them is, some of the materials used are called rare earth materials in making the motors. Leaves behind radioactive waste and is mined by Uyghur slaves in China. I mean, to me, there is absolutely nothing commendable about windmills. And if you're concerned about CO2 in the atmosphere, what's the best way to get rid of CO2?
Plant more trees.
Trees. It's fertilizer for trees, for green things. And, since 2000, the whole world has been getting greener. We have more trees, more grass, more green areas than we did in 2020. We have about 10% less arid or desert land. So, let's all cheer the cows farting to keep the trees and the flowers blooming. The more they fart, the more they bloom. The more they bloom, how does that go? Something like that. But windmills. Windmills. I just can't do it. Anybody have any questions so far? Melissa's cheering on. Danny Boyle, is that the filmmaker for Slumdog? And Melissa is our Hollywood contact also. She knows the ropes, knows the people. So you got it. If Melissa recommends somebody, we'll take that. Another little random stat. I'm just full of random stats tonight because I hadn't been able to talk about anything in a week or two, and I'm like just busting out with stuff.
Hang on. Sky.
Oh, how can I get one subscriber tonight to get to 400?
Let me get her link. Hang on.
Yeah, I was going to look up the link, but since Ellen is, Sky's another member of the family, and she has started a YouTube page called Dogs Discussions, just like her current nick. And she shows really cute little videos of people with their pets in different places. And, if you ever just want to feel good or see some cuteness, it's a great little website. So if you haven't joined or subscribed to Dogs Discussions, then here's a great opportunity for you to do that. So let's help her get let's help her get one subscriber to get to 400. It is a fun little page. And I guess I also want to toot our horn a little bit. We just this week broke past 10,000, which for a year and a half I thought wasn't too bad. Especially since we haven't been able to come up with a Johnny Depp trial to cover. But yeah, we're real excited, and I gotta tip the hat to Ellen. She is really hugely responsible for that. She has worked diligently on trying to get some videos. She handles most of the shorts, most of the media on the channel, and that is a lot of that has been a big hit. And so, got to tip the hat to her. She's done yeoman's work. So, y'all give Ellen a little pat on the back.
Thank you.
Oh, damn it. I just realized I saw the study, was reading through this study. And usually if I'm going to talk about it, a research paper, I try to throw the paper up. Well, I forgot the link, so I can't throw it up. But it was a study done by, some fellows at the NBER, National Bureau of Economic Research. And they did a study on universal income or basic income, whatever you want to call it. The idea is you just give people X amount of dollars per month, $1,000 a month, for example, which this study did. And then it's supposed to help them be freer, to live a better life, all these kind of benefits people have tried to attribute to it. Well, they thought, how does it really work? So they did a study, 3-year study. And there were 3,000 participants in the study. They gave each one $1,000 a month. And what they found wasn't what the advocates necessarily claimed the results would be. They found that, yes, the people had increased leisure time. As recipients, and I'll just quote it, as recipients spent less time on sleeping, childcare, community engagement, caring for others, and self-improvement. The study also found recipients' income, not including the free money, reduced their income significantly. As in, for every $1 received, total household income fell by 21 cents. The authors also noted that means-tested welfare, it means if you start making this amount of money, you lose all of your welfare benefits. It's not stepped. It doesn't blend in to help you make the transition to a job. The way our idiotic system is set up is if you are on welfare and you start a job, even if it's a minimum wage job, you lose your welfare. So you're better off. Total welfare benefits are actually worth, I don't know, I saw a couple of years ago, it's probably more now, but $55,000 a year. You'd have to have a job paying $60,000 a year to basically equal out full welfare benefits package. So you lose that package even if you take a minimum wage job and work 40 hours a week. It's ridiculous. It's like we're trying to discourage people from working, getting a job. But anyway, that's what means-tested welfare is. Means-tested welfare encourages recipients to cut hours to preserve benefits, like I just described. And without these kind of distortions, forcing them to give up the whole welfare package, it would allow individuals to look for and secure higher quality work and spend extra time on productive non-work activities. Well, the result was that participants' individual incomes declined $1,500 per year relative to the group who didn't receive the basic income. The participants' labor force participation rate was 2% lower, so fewer of them worked any at all. Participants, their partners, worked about 2 hours less per week, and they spent their extra time on leisure, did not improve their quality of employment, did not improve human capital investments such as training. So basically, it made them comfortable enough to where they got lazy and to where they were to the point they did not put anything in developing themselves or their future. So I thought that was kind of a fascinating paper, and certainly not what, a lot of people would advocate. There is the link for Sky's YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed, jumped over there, click on it, jump over there and subscribe. Let's get her over 400.
Leave that up for a sec, please.
Leave the pickup. Oh, are you talking about the quote?
Yeah, that. There you go.
Sometimes I get confused because Ellen is always begging me to throw up more graphs and pictures and leaves them up. She loves great artwork. She loves great graphs. She's looking all serious there, working on something. All right. Anybody else have any questions or anything? I have done all the talking. Y'all are been a little quiet. I don't know if I do that or not. Ellen just has me fascinated. She's just all intense on something, and I have no idea what.
You should. You're welcome, Sky. Anytime, honey.
Oh, there's the little streaming banner. Ta-da. So, taking it all in. Well, like I say, I've been seeing some of this stuff, and I just had to tell somebody. So this outlet's a good outlet for me to just, throw some of this stuff out. And Tallulah is a big fan of the graphs and charts. It's funny. I spend a fair amount of my time. Whoops. There's one. There's two. Can you see Chuck? He's the black one that you really can't see. Spend a fair amount of my time with the students trying to interpret and help them learn to interpret graphs. And a lot of people, their eyes just kind of glaze over when they see a graph. But seriously, the old adage is a picture is worth 1,000 words. And just taking a few seconds to try to look at a graph and figure out what it's telling you can be highly educational, can be highly informative. And that's what I love about graphs. Picture paints 1,000 words. So I still may spend 1,000 words talking about it, but nonetheless, the idea is that graphs are a great way to convey significant information clearly, concisely, without a lot of ambiguity, if you take a minute and just look and try to understand them. So I do use them. I do throw them up. And I hope it helps. I learn so much more easily with visual. And, please, if I throw something up, if I don't explain it well, if it doesn't make sense, if it's something that doesn't, translate well to you, or you have questions about it, ask. Seriously. I mean, anytime. But we love to get questions from you. I have people email me asking, me to cover a topic or something. I appreciate the hell out of that. And, while you are watching, if you do have questions, comments, or think of something later, throw me an email, moffatonmoney moffatonmoney@gmail.com, or DM me on Twitter, Moffat on Money. If you're not following on Twitter, then please give us a follow. Also, do the YouTubey things while I'm thinking of it. Hit the like, subscribe button. Help us grow the channel a little bit more. And, if you've got some suggestions to improve it, we'd love to hear from you. Love to see what you say, what you want, what you're interested in. Because that's where it gets fun for us. So, who will be a better ally to Israel, Trump or Harris? I don't think it's any contest. Trump. Harris is.
Wait, Biden asked that question? Hang on. Kidding. Do you sing any of Dogs Discussions videos? Her husband does a great impression. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Harris is much more kindly inclined toward Hamas. Trump is probably more along the lines of Palestine needs to be, or the Palestinians need to be freed from Hamas. There's a lot of confusion and all on the issue. As to what's going on and why. But Harris the other day, for example, told Netanyahu to, to lay off, to kind of halt in Gaza. Let's have peace. Let's have the ceasefire. And what that does is protect Hamas. Lets them live for another day. Just imagine when we went into Afghanistan and started banging on Al-Qaeda, if, somebody had told us, no, we need peace. You just need to have peace. And how well would we have responded to that? There's a lot of damage, a lot of harm. But Hamas is the party that won the vote in 2005 after the Israelis left. And they would drag their political opponents behind cars down the street. In their charter, their number one goal is destruction of Israel and to kill all the Jews. I don't think you can have peace with somebody that wants to destroy you and that hides in hospitals, hides behind women and children. I do, understand the Palestinian plight. And I've had Palestinian students and friends have been in the region. And my heart really goes out to them. I don't know necessarily of a better way to get rid of Hamas. And Hamas has been running kindergartens, teaching kids how to stab or shoot Jews. It's just ingrained. It's been ingrained in their kids from a very early age. So it is a difficult situation. It's terribly complex, painful situation with no good and easy answers.
May I?
There's an awful,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was just going to say
Okay.
there's an awful lot of Palestinians that want to be freed from Hamas.
Well, I think the difference too is, everybody talks about Trump wanting to get out of Afghanistan. He did, and he went to the head of, was it ISIS at the time? That was
Taliban.
Taliban, and he had a translator, talked to them, said we want out, and if you harm one head on American soldiers, harm one hair on American soldier's head, then I'll kill you. And the translator looked at him like, he's like, tell him. Then he took a piece of paper out of his pocket that showed
A
the
photograph.
home, yeah, of this Taliban leader, gave it to him, and walked out of the room. That is how you lead. That is how you do it.
Yeah,
You don't just try to play both sides and try to, because of people think this or that and the other. No, that's not how you do it.
Westerners, to me, the main problem with Westerners is they think everybody else thinks like they do. You've got the Oriental mindset, you've got the Occidental mindset, Occidental paradigm. The way you process information based on your values and, experiences kind of thing. Well, the Oriental is very different. The one thing they respect is power. They don't necessarily see human life as of infinite value like we do in the West. Traditionally in the West, we see individuals of infinite value. So we try to avoid war and death. Good goal, sometimes noble goal. But that doesn't translate to other parts of the world. That ideology doesn't translate to the other parts of the world. It's one reason why trying to build a democracy in Afghanistan completely failed. Anybody that understood that would have understood there's no way for it to work, because for a democracy, for a republic to work, you first of all have to respect the rule of all. You have to respect property rights. You have to respect each individual's rights. We have the Declaration of Independence that says each individual is endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So our philosophical statements for this country begins with the principle that each and every individual is of infinite value, has the right to freedom and the right to run their own life, their own property. And then the Constitution is just the practical outworking of that belief, of those principles, enumerating the outworking of those principles. So to get that political structure to work in Oriental lands, it will take you hundreds of years to change the mindset, if you even can. And I don't know that you can.
Well,
it first hit me. Go ahead.
That's also the problem with Bush, with Iraq. The Sunnis and the Shiites were not going to get along. That was never a thing that was going to happen. Yeah. That was the dumbest thing that the West thought they could make happen. They just have completely different beliefs and belief systems, and they don't respect each other, and you can't force that.
They have no qualms in killing somebody else that has a different belief, or enslaving them, called dhimmitude. Well,
Biden has another question.
Yeah, I was going to say something else, and I forgot what it was. Anyway, what kind of stocks will perform better the next 6 months? Tech or financials or utilities or pharma? Honestly, I have been in cash for a little while, and I'm kind of waiting to see. Right now, to me, all the trends in the economy look like a recession, and it looks like things are continuing to get worse. So sooner or later, the market the past week's down 2 weeks is down $2.5 trillion. So, and it's choppy. Was it Microsoft just released their earnings today, and they were, or was it Facebook? Oh, geez. Anyway, and it was bad. I just don't see a whole lot of good that would make me want to invest in stocks right now. I think you'll be able to buy them cheaper in a few months.
Moffat, does some of this have to do with timing or time? Like retirement to how much time you have to regain?
Yeah, it kind of does. Like I have a student that just started a mutual fund investment this past spring. So proud of her. $50 a month. She works some part time or whatever, and she's saving, 50, 100, whatever she can. And I'm like, she was kind of wondering if she should, wait or pull out. And I was like, if you have $200 in and the market drops 20%, that's $40. It's not going to really impact you 20, 30, 40 years from now. What is most important is that you develop the habit of saving. Now, if you've got $100,000, if you are, approaching retirement, whatever, a 20%, 30% drop could be relatively significant, relatively impactful. And right now you can earn 5%, 5.5% in a money market, which is not horrible, or treasury bill. So I've oftentimes in the past, I've been willing to give up some upside for the reduction in order to reduce risk. Because if you think about it, if you invest $1 in the market, easy math, you invest $1 and the market drops 50%, you have 50 cents. So the market dropped 50%, but you need 100% return to get back to where you were, to get back to that dollar. So the way to, over time, improve your portfolio's return is to try to avoid the big misses that you can normally see coming if you pay a little of attention to the data, to the numbers, to the market itself. You look at the prices for Nvidia, Tesla, Amazon, they're all very pricey. They're all overpriced, especially the tech stocks. That's no guarantee that they can't go higher, but that's not something that I would start thinking about taking profits, pulling my money out. Now, if you really want to be in the market, what I would look at is probably energy companies, uranium companies paying relatively high dividend would be probably more defensive in nature. Stable companies whose profits aren't necessarily tied to the economy. Coca-Cola doesn't pay a great dividend, but people are going to buy Coke, even if the economy, goes into a recession. So you want to find some sort of, company like that. There was a copper mining company that I've used at times, Southern Copper. But China has just owned the market in terms of copper purchases over the past 10 years. And the stock has just blown up. It used to pay 11% dividend. I think I first bought it in 2004. It was paying 11% dividend. That went up to 15%. The stock doubled and split 4 times while I held it in 2-3 years. It was great. But right now that dividend's down to about 2%. And, China's economy is grinding to a halt. So I wouldn't even, recommend that stock right now because it's probably got a fair ways to fall potentially. So I don't have a whole lot of stocks that I could honestly recommend to you now. In 2, 3, 4 months, market's down 20%. There's some I'll go all in. Energy prices are going to increase over the next decade. Uranium's going to get hotter. Tech has been good ever since the 80s. That's not going to change anytime soon.
Do you not think that the tech bubble hasn't quite burst yet?
No, I don't think it has. I think it is in the process.
I think it's going to go lower, in my opinion.
Like I said, the Mag 7 led by Nvidia has dropped 1.1 trillion 2 days last week. That's a big drop. That's bigger than the market cap of most other stock markets in the world. To give you an idea. But yeah, long term semiconductors, the tech stock. The real money will probably be in the semiconductors, trying to develop more and more better chips, more energy efficient. Particularly with AI, just starting, the demand for these kind of super fast processors is going to be enormous. So, long term, I think that would be a good one as well.
All right. I think Biden has lots of questions for you.
My thoughts, and they're only my thoughts, and that's kind of why I do some of these economic discussions on the channel, is to try to offer background or rationale for why I believe what I believe. I would say we're approaching a bear market. I think the chances are very good. It's not a guarantee. I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm not offering investment advice to anybody. But if you follow the trends, if you look at prior, market history, certain patterns kind of reoccur. The one thing that makes me hesitant to say that we're going to be a bear market is over the past few weeks, I've seen analysts at Goldman and Morgan start agreeing with me. I've seen a number of people start agreeing with me. And when a lot of people in the market who, get the headlines start agreeing with me, I start getting worried I'm wrong. So,
Dogs Discussions, if you will check your channel, you are at 400, love. Biden wants to meet Ellen. I'm right here.
He'll have to stand in line.
Ellen, red flag. You were at 400. Congratulations.
Yay.
Stand in line to meet me. Okay.
Also, if anybody else has any, channel or whatever they're trying to get up and running, didn't mention to you Love Pug Circus, which is also on Instagram. So would commend that to you as well. And Dogs is also on Instagram. Dogs Discussions and Love Pug Circus.
That's pinned at the top. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Aw. You're sweet.
I think Biden would probably veto that.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So what else y'all got? That is all I got, all I have for the night.
That's all.
So it's pretty much an open forum now.
You are so good. Show me the money! You are very welcome.
Still the best swoosh out there.
Wanted to get you over that hump tonight. All
We
those,
have
huh?
Melissa to thank for that.
Oh yeah, for the intro or the what
The
do you call it?
swoosh.
Swoosh. Sorry. Hey Janine, how are you doing, honey?
Good to
Haven't
see you,
seen you in a
Janine.
while.
How you been doing? It's been a little while. Appreciate you checking in.
You've been here from the beginning. I mean, like day one, I think. I think you and Sky and Melissa are like some of our first peeps. It's good to see
and it's
you, Janine.
and it's like I say, kind of a little family has developed.
Mhm.
We've grown to know and love, a lot of these people. If you're watching, we'd love to have you join the family. Um,
Yes, you have. Absolutely, you have been.
and we very much appreciate it. We really do. Um, the support, the encouragement we've gotten from everybody has at times been overwhelming. Thank you, Janine. And we've got a lot of people on replay crew. These times, Saturday and Tuesday nights, were kind of the best nights we thought, because a lot of our people come from LawTube, and LawTube has a lot of the other nights consistently booked. But for a lot of people, they aren't good nights. So,
Well, a lot of it too was McSquirrel, Azzy.
yeah,
When she
yeah.
could do it, she was, yeah.
Our first moderator, Secret McSquirrel, she was somebody we all knew and loved greatly. She was a big supporter of the channel, and she was our first moderator. She kind of wet nursed us for a while, but she was moderator on several other channels. And so these were the 2 nights that she had open. And so we have just stayed with that.
My girl, Secret.
Yep. She is missed. That is usually when I can watch. Well, we do love seeing you. And I know, like, we've got Carson. I don't think he's checked in tonight. He checks in often, but Saturday nights he gets his daughter.
Sons.
Sorry. Daughter, sons, kind of all the same.
She
But
was. And I think we all miss, I think everybody freaking misses her. I mean, it's just, I don't know anybody who doesn't miss Secret.
and it's funny, and I've said this before, but it's amazing the kind of friendships you can develop over the internet, over this YouTube thing. You really do develop a relationship with people. It still kind of amazes me, but Secret was one of those people that was just easy to love. She was a sweet and beautiful spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a big reason this channel got kicked off. Got started. So far, we've had some videos kicked off, and for those of you that aren't familiar, are the channel owner, we won't mention any names, kicked off another one of our videos on solar cooking.
Mm-hmm.
For what did they say the reason was? Misrepresentation?
No, it was, we played a video represented as current that was in the past.
Yeah, misrepresentation, something. But it was highly irritating. Not a whole lot we can do about it, but we lost a bunch of hours and a pretty damn good video. The one on solar cooking.
I'm going to try to redo it and see. Oh, thank you, Sky. Thank you. Yeah, I think because we were giving updates on the assassination attempt, they decided to they yeeted it. They didn't even give us like, okay, fix this or whatever. They just took it down. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And you know that's because Secret was my boo. Sweet Azzy.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could call up the actual reason they gave, but can't call it up.
Oh, I probably can.
But it was vague. They never, or that I saw. You may have gotten different notification, but they never explicitly described what the specific moment or issue was. They were very vague, which it's kind of hard not to do the same mistake if you don't know what the hell you did wrong in the first place. So
you may have gotten rid of it. I don't know. I think you did.
Think I did what?
Deleted it?
No. They deleted the video.
Yeah, but I don't have the email anymore. I think you may have gotten rid of it. I can look. You keep talking, please.
Yeah, I agree, Melissa, but they're like the 800-pound gorilla. You can't fight the man. Jane, how are you doing? It is still up on Rumble and X.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. We do have more viewers on YouTube and lost all the hours that had accrued to it, which YouTube is, sometimes makes a great effort to keep our hours down. But it was just, I guess it's just the principle of the thing. We were giving, and I don't know, there was the updates, it probably was, but this was right as the shooting was happening. And so if something interesting came up or across, would throw it up or discuss it or mention it. Good, bad, or indifferent. And that just doesn't seem like, to me, it should be
I've got it.
We
want to let you know that our team reviewed your content and we think it violates our misinformation policy. Is this the right one? Yeah. We know you may not have realized this was a violation of our policies, so we are not applying a strike to your channel. However, we've removed the following content from YouTube. What is solar cooking and how does it work? Content that may pose a serious risk of egregious harmful. They've changed the harm by falsely claiming the footage from a past event is from a current event isn't allowed on YouTube.
And I have no idea what they're referencing. Don't know.
We appealed it and they said no.
Yeah. So anyway.
May pose a serious risk of egregious harm by falsely claiming the footage from a past event is from a current event isn't allowed on YouTube. What? Shot who? Listen, I feel ya. Don't know. What does that mean? I mean, Jane and I filmed the solar cooking in the past. Correct. We said that a million times.
The past was a week earlier.
Yeah. How that's egregious and can cause serious risk of egregious harm, I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is that we were covering the Trump attempted assassination during that video.
Yeah, like I say, I have no idea. I don't understand what it is. I can't get any answer out of them. I tried emailing them, nothing. So,
to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Wait, hang on. My niece watched it on Rumble, and she's pretty sure it was the Trump stuff, which still doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's not like it was. It happened 45 minutes before we started live.
And there were all sorts of new updates coming out.
Yeah, and we were just kind of spouting off what was going on at the time. So I don't know what any of that is actually about or what the problem is. I don't think they probably don't. I mean,
it's probably just a bot.
They said, but that's why we challenged it, and they were like, nope.
The bot didn't like our appeal.
It did not. It decided, not okay to do solar cooking. So I'm going to try to edit all that out. We still have it recorded on StreamYard, right?
Yeah.
And edit everything out and try to repost it and see what happens. We shall see.
Because it was a very informative little video. If you interested in, and sometimes we get into issues regarding, I guess the general topic would be homesteading,
Mm-hmm.
and some preparation for calamitous events, and that fit right in, and it was good information.
Can you not talk about like past battles or wars or conflict in the United States? Like, is that no longer? I don't understand.
I don't know. And Melissa's, I don't think they even know.
They probably don't.
I would have a hard time disagreeing with that. So
they still haven't given us a strike because there's no reason to. They just said they were taking it down. We have got no strikes. We've got some copyright issues, which I need to talk to you about actually, Sky, how you do the music, because every time we do anything, they just give us the big boot.
Yeah, we've had 7 videos.
7 copyright strikes, 7 videos in the past year that have been taken down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like an X, like you're like you get 3 X's and you're done, but they're just like, yeah, we're not going to let you do this, and that's why. Okay, fair enough. I got to get Clay to work on that.
Yeah, I don't even know what
videos. YouTube does have music that you can use.
Not familiar with that. Now, I've used other YouTube videos, and they kicked those out.
Some of that is just somebody saying that they own that video and it's copyright, but we actually have the copyright. They go through and check the copyrights, especially on anything that I upload, before it goes out, so there's no issue whatsoever.
Yeah. Anyway, got me.
YouTube is funny and complicated and not exactly all that awesome.
Yeah, and that's Ellen's bailiwick.
We will get all of the links back up for the solar cookers and all that good stuff when I get that video back up.
Yep.
I think Clay's more of a TikToker. I don't do TikTok. I get a lot of crap for that.
I check it once a month. I'm not really on it.
Fair enough. But you'd have some good songs on your doggy videos. So I will check that out and see if we can take it and put it into live stream, how all that works. It's kind of my gig.
E-Train's gig.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anybody have any other questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, suggestions?
Our pseudo President Joe Biden have any more questions?
And if you haven't, if you haven't taken a look at Dogs Discussions, you'll see a few videos on there featuring Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm. And it is hilarious, by the way. So how does our Sky? How does your beau feel about getting in a coffin? Can I say that? Joe Biden went to bed with his puppy. Did you give him ice cream? Just curious.
That's funny.
All right, guys. I think we're out, huh?
Yeah, it's about time. And, just really want to thank y'all for joining us. We're back, trying to get back in the groove here. And we very much appreciate y'all taking the time out to be with us. For those of you that drop in to say hey, for those of you that on Replay Crew, we love you guys too.
I'm sorry I snorted. That was hilarious. Listen, you guys, okay, so there is a pinned message on YouTube for Melissa. Go help support her bunny Bertram. And then scrolling along the bottom, Dogs Discussions on YouTube. Please go follow her. And we hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Yes, we do. We appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Our time is up. We thank you for yours. Good night, everybody. Blessings to you.